Hey everyone, so I'm James Vang, and this is going to be me just kind of analyzing my bench press technique over the last 3 to 4 years in terms of, just everything, raw, bench shirt, my elbow positioning, my feet positioning, and everything. So you guys will kind of see the kind of things that I've changed over the years. So this is, back in 2013. If you look, my heels and my knees are kind of vertical, but I think the reason why I was able to have such a high arch was because this bench was probably like 3 or 4 inches higher than a regular competition bench. But I want you to pay attention to where I grip the bar and how my elbow is moving. If you look at my elbow, it's kind of shifting back slightly. Now, the reason why that's happening was because I used to bench press with my pinky on the ring. And, I think I am more of a chest bencher. So I would benefit from a wider grip. If you feel stronger, if your triceps are strong, you might want to keep a close grip. But for me, I'm a chest bencher, so going wider is more beneficial. Now, let's revisit the bench or the 265. Look at my elbow, it shifts back, right? I want to fix that weakness, and what can we do? The way to fix that will be to move my hands wider, right? Now, this is a year later when I moved to Georgia or when I moved to Minnesota. I maximized my grip. I went as far as I could, and I kept everything roughly the same. But if you look at my butt and my feet and my positioning, it vibrates super duper hard. And when it vibrates like that, what that tells me is that my butt or my feet or something in the lower half is searching for a stronger position. And before, I wasn't really too aware because, I've always been taught, the higher the arch, the better, right? And you can almost tell here, this is a video recently, right before Raw Nationals 2016. I still try to maximize my arch even more to kind of fix those weaknesses, but all I was doing was improving the weakness. Now look at my butt. This is only 285. I could rep this super easy now, but look at the vibration. That might not be super bad with 285, but with like 315, you're gonna see it super apparent. This was 2014 when I first bench pressed 420. Look how far back my heel is. This is where my glutes are at. And pay attention to my legs and my glutes. Look at the vibration. Like I'm struggling. Like why is my butt and my feet vibrating so much? And this is kind of recent, and you can kind of see the same thing. Look at my butt, look at my knees, and look at my feet. It looks super uncomfortable with a super high arch, and look how hard it was for me to kind of get it up. My butt and my knees and everything kind of vibrated a little bit, right? So how can everything else from the upper body looks good? What can I do to the lower body to kind of fix that? Going back further caused my butt to come up and more vibration. So if my legs are looking for a stronger position, why not move my feet out slightly further out? Now, this is still a work in progress, but look, I moved it out maybe 2 inches and look at the difference. This is 430. Look how much easier it was for me. You still see a little bit of vibration in the butt. And now when I think about that weakness, how can I put my feet in a position where it's just stable? My ankles, my knees, my glutes, and everything just wants to stay in that same position. And this is me getting more comfortable with that technique where my feet is further away from the bench or further away from the barbell. And now look how much more comfortable I feel. The arch looks more comfortable. Look at my knees and my glutes. They are not moving anywhere. And with this positioning, with the feet being further out, slightly closer to the bench, and if you notice, it's still pretty far back. It's not vertical anymore, but as you can tell, the heel and my knee are more lined up. And from that little movement, it created the comfortness to help me with leg drive. And now my bench press is the way it is right now. So what I want you guys to take away from this is, you don't want to do massive, drastic changes in your bench press technique. If you notice, it took me almost 3 or 4 years of reworking in one little thing at a time. In 2013, my hands was too close, so I had to get used to a wider grip. It took me one whole year to get used to that. 2014, I wanted to work on maximizing why I had such a weakness in my glutes and my feet. So the idea that I got from a lot of other people was to, move my feet further back to maximize the arch to get rid of that, right? But as you can tell, all I really was doing was trying to run away from that problem. What I needed to do was not maximize the arch, but need to find a way to move the weight in the most efficient and most comfortable way possible. And I found that out by moving my feet just barely out further. You don't want to do big moves because when you do a big move, like if you move your feet too far out, then that's like a totally different bench. You still want the bench press to feel the same way that it feels now because you spent so much time, building that technique. And because of that technique, you're at a plateau. So, in order to find out if a change is even necessary, you just want to do little moves here and there. And again, if my heel was originally closer to my glutes, now if you look at my current technique, my heel is now closer towards my knee than my glutes. From that little shift, it caused me to have a better leg drive to drive the weights into the upper back as I'm pressing up. And as you notice, because now I have maximum grip because I'm a chest bencher, my elbows look super efficient. Now, if you watch the 250 for 9 reps, the first couple of reps were super beautiful. And of course, I mean, this position is such a hard position to maintain. So obviously, I'm going to start gassing out. But the idea is you want to do small little changes to make the bench press feel more comfortable, look more comfortable. And, those little subtle changes, if it feels good, then you keep it. And if it don't, then that means next year, which is kind of like what you've been seeing for the past 3 to 4 years, is just experimenting with different feet positioning, different hand positioning, to find the most efficient way to fix those problems. So again, in 2013, my problem was my hands are too close, so I moved it out. 2014, my problem was to figure out why my butt was coming off slightly at a meet and why my feet and my butt was vibrating. And I asked some people and they told me to move my feet back, but that was actually me just running away from that problem. And I feel like it took me about 3 to 4 years to finally figure out that maybe having a super high arch isn't super beneficial for me. So the idea was to move my feet further out to get rid of a super high arch. And because of that, I have better leg drive and the bench press just feels more comfortable. So for this next year in 2017, the idea would be to get comfortable with the way this feels and kind of continue so I can make, let's say, 300 look like 250. And hopefully that makes sense.